Y'all, I came off the table like the Exorcist.
No, Alyssa passed out.
Did she?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know how they got it in there straight, because literally I like came off
Do you
the
have a
table.
rundown?
Huh?
Do you have a rundown?
Do you?
No. But is the first camera shot 5 on 2 or 4?
You need a rundown. We need you to give
I
me
know.
one.
5.
5?
Oh, why don't you go see if control...
Starting right at 7:15, the way it looks.
I can only do so much, Chris, okay?
What time is it?
7:20.
Oh, shit.
Tonight, partly cloudy with a low... Oh, shit.
Okay, tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 69. We're going to have calm winds. Friday, mostly sunny.
Hot one today. Highs in the upper 80s, low 90s, just 1 degree shy of a...
Hot one today, highs in the 90s, almost hit a record of 91.
Now, your first weather.
And we saw some very warm temperatures out there for today. Our highs reaching the upper 80s and low 90s, just a degree short of a record high here in Jackson late this afternoon with a high temperature reaching 90, the record high for the date 91. And everyone around the area actually saw highs in the upper 80s and low 90s, made to 92 for a high down in Memphis, 88 in Parsons and Paris, 90 the high Union City and Dyersburg, 89 in Milan, and 90 degrees in Covington. Going to be a warm night tonight as temperatures only drop back into the mid to upper 60s. Again, clearing skies out there. Look for a low of 67 degrees. Warm and humid weather continuing as we get into the overnight hours. Winds basically calm. May see a little patchy fog as you wake up early tomorrow morning. Our school day forecast for your Friday. We finally made it to Friday, but still looking like volatile warm weather in the forecast. Highs near 90 as we get into our afternoon hours. Again, looking like record-breaking or at least close to record-breaking temperatures all weekend long as highs will stay in the upper 80s and low 90s. Not a lot of rain chances till next week, and next week may bring some fall weather back to our area. Something to talk about here with your hometown forecast, but first, your local news starts now.
39 News Night Edition is brought to you by Physicians Quality Care, where we treat you like family. 2 locations, open 7 days a week. Now, from your hometown news team in the heart of downtown Jackson, this is 39 News Night Edition.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Meredith Mitchell.
And I'm Josh Egbert. For many of our veterans who come back from war, readjusting to civilian life can be tough.
Many experience feelings of isolation and even suicidal thoughts. 39 News' Jackson Overstreet spoke with area health officials on how veterans in need can get help.
Tom Buck is a Vietnam veteran. Like many servicemen and women from his era, Buck suffers from PTSD. Recently, while speaking to law enforcement officers at a crisis intervention seminar, his PTSD was triggered.
They asked a question, and and I answered it, but it was an immediate flashback. Yeah. And I was shaking and inside and could hardly talk.
Buck says he has a handle on his PTSD, but for many veterans, the stress can be too much. 66 Tennessee veterans, ages 55 to 75, committed suicide in 2016, according to data recently put out by the Department of Veteran Affairs, a 32% rise from 2015. Buck believes the spike is being caused in part by many Vietnam veterans reaching the retirement stage of their careers.
We have all this time to sit around and contemplate all the things that we did while we were in combat, or, and a lot of guys just feel so guilty it just eats them up.
For any veteran who is dealing with a mental crisis, there are resources out there to help you out. The Veterans Crisis Line operates 24/7.
Veterans can call that number and press 1 and gain immediate access to a VA clinician.
After the call, any veteran, wherever they are across West Tennessee, will have their case followed up on and be given access to any and all resources they may need, according to the VA hospital in Memphis. Both Buck and Scaife encourage any veteran who may be experiencing thoughts of suicide or depression to reach out for help. In Jackson 439 News, I'm Jackson Overstreet.
The Veterans Crisis Line is 1-800-273-8255. VFW Post 6496 also offers counseling sessions for any and all veterans. They can be reached at 731-423-9664.
The Jackson-Madison County School Board held its October meeting tonight. The meeting consisted of many items that could impact the future of the district. This is the first full meeting of the new board under Chairman Kevin Alexander. The board took public comment from community members, where many expressed support of Superintendent Dr. Eric Jones. The meeting covered Alexander's turnaround first initiative, an option to purchase land in Northwest Jackson. Alexander says he wants people to be patient while the new board comes together.
The board has changed dramatically. Over the last 2 years, there's been 7 new board members, 5 just in this past month. And I just hope people remember that, and it's something that we've got to discuss things so that we can come together as a unit.
MCSS Superintendent Dr. Eric Jones also unveiled some new changes to his 10-year plan, including adding a middle and high school at the old Jackson Central Mary campus. 39 News will have a full recap tomorrow of tonight's meeting.
Well, there are topics that have been dominating the headlines recently: beer, drinking, and blacking out.
They were brought to the forefront from Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. But what does blacking out mean, and how does it even happen? 39
News' Camila Rada explains.
It's been fodder for late-night TV. Saturday Night Live joining the conversation of whether or not Judge Brett Kavanaugh drank too much. But understanding a blackout and how it happens is the first step to prevent it from happening to yourself and others around you.
The hippocampus is responsible for our memory. So if we pour too much alcohol in there, it starts to cause problems for the interaction of the brain. It will keep it from actually developing the memories that it's supposed to, and that's what a blackout is.
According to program manager Jim Jones, a blackout is a type of amnesia.
During a blackout, the person is still active and still communicating, but since a certain part of the brain has shut down, they have no memory. The problem is that there's no exact recipe to a blackout.
Everybody's different. Our genetics, our physiology will determine how much we can do, what we can do.
The University of Memphis at Lambeth works hard to make alcohol education available to every student. They say if a situation like the one Kavanaugh is being accused of ever occurred at their school, they have a policy in place and would take action.
Students would be charged with a violation of the code, and then they would have the option for the right to a hearing and an investigation if that was necessary, and then the appropriate sanctions would be given to that student.
Understanding what a blackout really means will be vital in Kavanaugh's continuing case. 439 News, I'm Camila Rueda.
Multiple law enforcement agencies received unique training from a Homeland Security federal team. Today was the last day of training, with about 20 different people receiving the training each day. The focus to provide techniques and if they ever need to save their own life or someone else's life. They learned how to use different types of tourniquets, and officers say these skills will be useful in a variety of situations.
Multiple situations, whether it be a car accident, you've been impaled in a limb, you've been shot, one of your arteries has been severed, many different situations.
Deputy Pollock says that they only have a few seconds after an artery is severed or a limb is damaged to stop the bleeding, so learning exactly what to do in those seconds is vital.
The Tennessee State Museum opened its new location today at the Bicentennial Capitol Mall State Park in Nashville. Museum officials celebrated with a ribbon cutting. The museum, one of the oldest and largest museums in the nation, was located at the James K. Polk State Office building for more than 35 years. But the new and improved museum is expected to host nearly double the number of visitors a year for a total of 220,000 annual visitors. So far, it cost about $120 million in state funds and $30 million in private funds to build the project. The new state-of-the-art facility will continue to offer free admission for children and adults.
A couple of meat recalls to tell you about tonight. 6.5 million pounds of various beef products have been recalled by an Arizona company because they may be contaminated with salmonella. The U.S. Department of Agriculture says the products were shipped nationwide and hundreds of products are on the list. The meat was packaged between July 26th and September 7th, and so far, at least 57 people in 16 states have reported getting sick. Diarrhea, fever, and abdominal cramps are among salmonella's symptoms, usually within 12 to 72 hours of exposure.
Painkillers may impact a woman's risk for ovarian cancer. Researchers at Harvard looked at data on more than 200,000 women, including about 1,000 who developed ovarian cancer. They discovered those who regularly took a low-dose aspirin were less likely to develop the disease, but those who'd taken other painkillers like ibuprofen or naproxen long-term seem to have a higher risk. Ovarian cancer is the 5th most common cause of cancer-related death among American women.
Well, with life-threatening food allergies on the rise, drug companies ramping up new approaches.
Meg Terrell reports.
Will Brody's nut allergy is so severe he's had to use an EpiPen 4 times.
Get very itchy, and it's just not fun. It's just like, then you can get scared, then it just like contributes, everything just kind of snowballs.
But through a clinical trial of a new approach to peanut allergy, he's built up a tolerance that should protect him from accidental exposure. The treatment is from biotech company Aimmune, and it's one of a number of new approaches drug companies are working on to counter the rising prevalence of allergies.
If we treated 10 children, we could get 8 of those children through the treatment process and essentially protected from accidental exposure to peanuts out there in the real world.
French biotech DBV Technologies is working on a similar program, using a patch to administer a dose equivalent to 1/1000th of a peanut every day, essentially retraining the immune system to tolerate peanuts. Biotech giant Regeneron is taking allergy research even further. Its recently approved medicine Dupixent targets 2 signaling molecules that become overactive in allergic diseases like asthma and atopic dermatitis.
The more specifically you can identify what's wrong with the immune system and what's overactive, you can target only that.
It's testing the drug in other allergic disorders, as well as in combination with Aimmune's therapy for peanut allergy. Regeneron's also exploring whether it can develop drugs that target the cause of each specific allergy.
We have a program for cat allergy, for example, where we know what the major driver is from the cat allergen that's inducing a lot of the symptoms. And we demonstrated into a phase 1 clinical study and showed that patients do have symptomatic relief.
For Regeneron scientist Jamie Orengo, the work is deeply personal. Her 3 sons all have severe allergies.
It definitely puts a spark in everything that you do because, you know, I see how much this affects my children.
Aimmune and DBV are successful. Their treatments could reach the market next year.
Still ahead here on 39 News Night Edition, the Titans head to New York to take on the Buffalo Bills this weekend. Nicole will give us a preview.
And police ambushed by gunfire in South Carolina, leaving 1 officer dead and 6 others injured. The latest on the investigation into that gunman.
And another warm day out there today as highs reached 90 here in Jackson, just 1 degree short of a record of 91 degrees. This is a record high for the date back in 1954. We'll get the more warm weather, more humid weather in the forecast for the next several days. Next chance of rain really not arriving until next week. We'll talk about it when we come back.
Now, NBC 39 weather.
And welcome back, everyone. Warm and humid weather back in the forecast here across much of West Tennessee. Highs reaching 90 today. Actually saw some highs in the low 90s, especially around Memphis, for example. Their high was 92 late this afternoon. So there's heat and a little more humidity in the forecast for your Friday. Our school day forecast starts out near 70 at 7 o'clock in the morning. Mostly sunny skies, maybe a little patchy fog around, especially some of the rural areas may see some of that fog out there. We'll get back in the upper 80s by the afternoon. Our high temperature once again getting close to record territory, a high of 90. Our record for your Friday is actually 93, so we'll be a few degrees below that, but these record challenging temperatures are going to be hanging around the next several days. But I do have a little taste of fall, maybe a little tease of fall weather in the forecast. Have to wait till next week for that, but it looks like we will see temperatures eventually getting back to where they should be for this time of year. But next couple days, you're going to feel more like summer as we get through our Friday and into the weekend. Our weather notes in shows mostly sunny for your Friday. Again, another hot day, more humid day, approaching the record high of 93. I think we'll stay close to 90, so we'll be a few degrees away from that, but a better chance of actually breaking a record on Saturday, as the record high is 90 Saturday afternoon. We'll probably be close to 90. It may actually get low 90s in some areas. Still very warm, very humid. Not only having the heat, but again, that humidity increasing, the dew points in the low 70s, which is more typical of summer than really fall weather. And looks like these summer-like conditions will hang around as we get into the weekend and into the early parts of next week. But again, by the middle part of next week, there are some changes coming that actually could give us a little bit of relief from this heat. Temperatures across the area, 89 the high in Milan, 90 the high Union City and Jackson, 90 degrees Covington, 92 down in Memphis, 88 in Paris, and 90 degrees in Dyersburg. Late this afternoon, a lot of these temperatures feeling more like the mid or upper 90s this afternoon. Again, with those heat index values and feel like temperatures pushing temperatures into the mid 90s and really more the same over the next several days. So temperature trend here as we get to the weekend and early next week, really looking like temperatures will stay well above our average. Our normal high is 77 this time of year. Yeah, we'll be near 90 once again, maybe in the upper 80s to near 90 for Saturday and Sunday, with partly to mostly sunny skies. Looking like the dry weather will hang around, maybe some isolated chance of rain trying to come in on Sunday. But I think we have a better chance of rain maybe next week. The rain, and even those rain chances at the time don't really look that good, but actually may be enough to bring some clouds in and start to see some cooler weather arriving with temperatures getting back into the mid 80s as we head into the middle part of next week. For tonight, 67 out there, clear skies, warm and humid. South-southwest winds under 5 miles per hour. As we head into the day on our Friday, Temperatures back to near 90 for an afternoon high with mostly sunny skies, still warm and humid. South-southwest winds at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. So here's your daily rain chances over the next 7 days. And again, not looking like really the best chances of any type of rain anytime soon. Again, over the weekend, may see some isolated or spotty showers or thunderstorms in the forecast. A lot of humidity around. Really wouldn't take much to pop a rain shower or thunderstorm up. But again, they're going to be very widely scattered if they develop all. But by Wednesday, we may see a little bit better chance of rain. That's ahead of a system that could bring some much cooler weather back to the area, especially late next week. But here's what it looks like for your Friday. More heat, more humidity in the forecast once again, not only for us, but actually a majority of the Mid-South seeing these temperatures well above where they should be this time of year. These very warm temperatures hang around all weekend long with temperatures in the upper 80s and low 90s. 7-day forecast brought to you by GCO, the Floor Trader. High of 90 for Friday, mostly sunny skies, upper 80s to near 90. Again, all weekend long, both Saturday and Sunday, upper 80s on Monday. But there's those signs of some cooler weather, or at least some fall weather back in the area for the middle part of next week. And that front comes through on Wednesday, could bring some scattered showers and thunderstorms along with it. Again, the more isolated chances on Wednesday, highs in the upper 70s. It could get back into the mid to upper 70s by Thursday and even beyond the 7-day forecast. I actually posted on my Facebook page and Twitter account that by the next about 10 days or so out, we could be talking about temperatures in the low 70s or even upper 60s. So that'd be next weekend and into the following week. So definitely looking like some fall getting back into the area, but some warm weather hanging around over the next 3 to 4 days. All right, stay with us. More news when we come back.
One officer is dead and 6 others wounded in Florence, South Carolina after a gunman opened fire on law enforcement serving a warrant for an alleged sexual assault involving a foster child.
Dan Shinneman reports.
A quiet, affluent neighborhood, now a massive crime scene after an ambush-style attack as police and sheriff's deputies came under fire trying to serve a warrant Wednesday. 7 officers struck by bullets from a high-powered rifle from inside the house.
The most tragic event in the 35 years that I've been with the Florence Police Department.
Police say they notified the homeowner in advance about the warrant. When they arrived, the gunman opened fire and barricaded himself inside the home with 4 foster children who were later released unharmed. The suspected gunman, who was hospitalized and is now in custody, is 74-year-old Fred Hopkins, the father of the alleged perpetrator of the sex crime under investigation. Hopkins is a disbarred lawyer and a Vietnam veteran. He was arrested after a more than 2-hour standoff with police. Killed in the attack was 52-year-old Terrence Caraway, a 30-year veteran of the Florence Police Department.
This was a guy that laughed all the time. He was a giant of a man, but he was the proverbial gentle giant. And I loved him.
The governor has ordered flags at half-staff across the state as Florence mourns the loss of a local hero, Officer Terrence Caraway.
Well, coming up next, we'll hear from Coach Jeremy Pruitt as the Vols focus on the fundamentals during their bye week.
And we have the latest on all the playoff action throughout the MLB. Sports is next.
Before you comment.
Good evening. Welcome back to 39 News. Tennessee Vols basketball team saw a breakthrough season last year, which came to everyone. Welcome back to 39 News. I'm Nicole Menner. The Tennessee Vols basketball team saw a breakthrough season last year, which came to an end in the second round of the NCAA tournament to Loyola Chicago. Heading into this year, Coach Rick Barnes isn't focused on the outside noise. He's zeroed in on getting better as a team.
A year ago, that was our goal. Can we get better today? And that's what it is today. We haven't, if you walk in our practice facility, there's nothing about winning the SEC, winning the national championship. All that stuff is a given. That's what you're playing for. But our goal is to get, can we get better today?
This summer, it was the hardest summer ever to get a rim just to shoot on. I mean, our whole team was in the gym the whole day. I mean, I would have to come in late at night just to get my extra work in because everyone's been putting in time.
The bye week this week gives the Tennessee Vols the chance to focus on the reasons that they sit at 2-3. Those 3 losses come against Power 5 schools, and after this week they face Auburn and South Carolina on the road. So things not exactly getting any easier, but Coach Pruitt says that this week is an opportunity to focus on the fundamentals.
Well, I think our guys they're figuring out if they do things the right way, they give themselves a chance to have success. It doesn't matter who the opponent is. If we don't give ourselves a chance. And that's here in Knoxville. That's everywhere across the country. Really good opportunity for a lot of guys to improve as players, going back to fundamentals on both sides of the ball.
The Titans head to New York to take on the 1-3 Buffalo Bills this weekend as they look to keep their 3-game win streak alive. Last week, the Titans really proved themselves on the gridiron. From Marcus Mariota to the young core of wide receivers, the guys stepped up big, and it isn't going unnoticed.
Everyone kind of has a switch. When you step into the field, you have to kind of flip your mindset. Because, I mean, honestly, if you gotta go get yours. You know, you got to go make plays, and I think our young receivers have done that. And really, to be honest, I think this kind of young group that we have, this young core, whenever they have an opportunity to step out in the field, they do play with a sense of urgency and a sense of aggressiveness.
One week it may be completely different. And in one game we may go in there and may dictate that he has 22 carries or 25 carries. I'm not sure. And then there's other games where it just doesn't end up that way. And so, you know, we've got a plan, and right now we kind of change it up each week. And then, you know, we'll kind of see where we're at this week as far as, you know, where he and Dion and Flew and Dawkins, where their carries or production lies.
The Yankees defended their home field last night, taking down the Oakland A's in the AL wildcard game. Yanks ace Luis Severino rising to the challenge, holding Oakland hitless until the 5th inning while fanning 7 batters. And of course, Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton doing what the Yankees pay them to do, crush home runs. Judge is coming in the first off Liam Hendriks to put the Pinstripes up 2-0, and Stanton's would be the icing on top of the cake. In the 8th inning, playing in his first ever postseason game, he crushes it, leaving the bat at 117.4 miles per hour. So the Yankees now off to Boston to face the Red Sox in the ALDS tomorrow. It's the first time the rivals will meet in the playoffs since the ALCS in 2004, and things have been pretty crazy so far in the playoffs. I'm sure we're in for much more craziness with this weekend to come.
Yeah, there's a great playoff so far, and
We've had extra
hopefully
innings, we've had comebacks, so
hopefully it continues.
hopefully it does.
All right, Nicole, thanks. Final check of that forecast for right after this.
And taking a final look at our 7-day forecast, which is brought to you by GC Floor Trader. Another warm one for your Friday, high of 90. May see a little patchy fog as you wake up Friday morning. More upper 80s and low 90s over the weekend. And really looking pretty warm into early next week. But there's signs of some fall weather returning by Wednesday and Thursday with highs back into the upper 70s. So just a few days of this hot weather to go through.
All right, looking forward to that. And thanks for watching 39 News. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. Have a great day.
Follow us online, like us on Facebook, and visit our website, WNBJTV.com.